Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's talk with Ms. Ramya and with Ms. Arunima. So, Ramya Hariharan is an alumnus of National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. She is an instructional designer and a special educator inspired by anthroposophy and a parent fascinated by the richness of neurodivergent mind. Her organization, WillAtWork, is a passionate outcome of personal experiences and deep realizations. Her dream is to build this initiative into a family that loves and laughs together, and while doing fulfilling work that nourishes the soul. Welcome, Ramya.
Hi, Bindu. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
And today we also have Ms. Arunima Singh. She's a Montessori trained educator, a special educator, and a blogger by passion. She has worked with many neurodivergent children for the last 15 years and young adults. And she indulges in handwork in the time that she gets in her busy schedule. And she also works alongside Ms. Ramya with at WillAtWork. So she has a lot of passion towards handwork, and that brings us here today to discuss with us. Thank you, Arunima, for being here with us today.
Thank you, Bindu. Thank you.
Ramya, would you like to start?
Yes. Yeah, so first of all, thanks to each and every one of you who has taken the time on a Saturday morning to be with us, to share our journey. And I'll just quickly see if you could just come on video for a second, just to get a personal connect, because webinars are very new to me. Just for a second. Hi. I can see some familiar faces. I can see my Chitti and my Anna and my close friends who are here to support me, support us today. Hi, Vandana. Yeah, so just for a personal connect, because it would have been wonderful to talk in person with all of you, but at least this. Yeah, so we will get started. Yeah. So good morning, everyone. And WillAtWork has been a very passionate journey for us. And when Bindu asked us to share our journey with you and talk about the importance and the benefits of handwork, I thought the best would be to just go through our journey first, and then from that share as to how we came to this point of understanding various things. So it was all very experiential for us. And what we are going to talk today is just our experiences. A little bit of theory here and there, but then more from the heart, because for the last 3 years, whatever we have experienced in this journey, the learnings that has come through our children is what we really want to bring forth. And from that, what can we do together? So WillAtWork, as you see, it's a unique design and handwork studio that enables diverse hands experience handwork as a therapeutic vocation with their willing engagement and loving community support. So I love to say this: here the hands talk, the hearts meet, and the worlds blend. So that is what WillAtWork is all about. So how did it come about? How did it take shape is something that we want to share with you our story today. So this is how we have kind of loosely made the presentation. I talk about the journey and the different opportunities where handwork can be put to good use. And then Arunima takes over and she talks about the benefits and application in different areas. And the most important section would be the interaction with you all. We would love to have your questions and thoughts and see if we can make it more interactive and take it forward from there. So journey so far. So how WillAtWork actually emerged was during the COVID time. So yet another thing that emerged during the COVID time was when forced to slow down, we observed. When pushed to be silent, we listened. In solitude, we discovered possibilities which were hidden in the sounds of chaos, in the rush of demands, only revealing parts of us unseen and untouched, but very much within us. This is exactly what I say is the starting point of WillAtWork. So during COVID, when we were all homebound and kind of forced to be in a different kind of a space mentally and physically, one of the things I would do towards the end of the day was to paint, just to ground myself, just to relieve myself, and to kind of, have a feeling of grounding. And what was beautiful was my daughter, who was around 12 then, she would silently sit and watch me do all these activities towards the evening. Neither would she come to interfere in the process, nor would she want to stop me from doing it. So there was something about her observation that was very intriguing for me, because she was not a child who would come very easily for such activity. She was a more gadget savvy child, somebody who would go more towards the musical attractions. Like she's very good at music, so she would go to play the keyboard or something. But here she sat and watched me do whatever I was doing in complete silence. So that was a very beautiful observation for me. And then as we went through the days, she also started becoming a part of the activities. Yeah, so you can see the pictures here, just put some visuals for you to have an idea as to how it all emerged. So what was very intriguing for me was this particular quiet observation. So there was something which was fulfilling for her, even in watching what I was doing, just as it was fulfilling me for in doing whatever I was doing. So this was something that both of us were experiencing in a very different way together. So from there it started, and then because it was COVID and we were not going to meet our relatives, I suggested to her, why don't we, start doing some projects together? And we looked at small things which were there at home. We looked at t-shirts, old t-shirts. We cut them, we made t-shirt yarn out of it. We started weaving with it, and we did embroidery. Embroidery was something that used to be difficult for her, but during the COVID time, I did a lot of movements with her, where like physical movements, purposeful movements through the help of a curative educator. And I saw a huge difference in the way she was able to bring her visual-motor connect because of that. Certain things which were difficult for her to do, she was able to get a grasp of it once her body had also learned to do that, like back and forth movement, midline crossing. A lot of such activities which we did over the period of 6 months, very dedicatedly over the during the COVID time, because we were homebound. I was seeing a spurt in her visual-motor connect also. And of course, as a younger child, she has had the advantage of going to a Montessori school and going to a Waldorf school, which I'm sure had its own part to play. So towards the end of the day, what we would do is we would, just to unwind, sit and start painting, sit and start stitching together. It was a very quiet and beautiful time, which we really looked forward to at the end of the day. It was something where we were both in our own spaces, but still there was some progress happening. So from there on started the journey when we started sharing pictures with our relatives, with our friends. Well-wishers came forward, family friends came forward and said, why don't you make something for us? Meenu is doing such a beautiful work. Why don't you make something for us? So that was a huge motivation for us to make gifts for our near and dear ones, because we were not going to meet them during that festival season. So we actually sat and talked about it. We said, this is a wonderful way for us to connect with them. So we started buying things online. And if you, like you see here, you can see our first set of diyas for Navratri and Diwali are getting ready. Why I take these two examples? Okay, before that, what I saw with my daughter was that when I gave her a sense of purpose, that this is for this particular person and this we are giving as a gift, there was a very different kind of participation that I saw in her. As against an activity or a task which we would just plan to do throughout the day, this was something that had a more valuable takeaway for her, which was very intangible. And so if you see here, a range of skills are being covered, and I went by her interests. So basically, she's a very sensory seeking child. Like she loves colors, she loves textures, beads, patterns, different things which are very visually appealing, right? So our children have a lot of fascination for such things. So often we see them as a fixation when they start holding them or, playing with them all the time. But I said, why don't we look at converting these fixations into fascinations? So our first set of products, if you see, would only cover things like which involved painting, sticking, cutting, and a whole range. So here, if you see, I've just taken two examples of one diya being made from concept to completion. So all the parts are kept together, and then she puts them together, and the entire process is something that she's experiencing. And even the right side, what you see is right from painting the board to assembling the parts, to putting the pieces in order, packing them, writing a note, signing her name, and packaging. It's a whole range of activities which we covered. This we did not realize when we were doing it. Now, when I look back at the string of pictures is what I'm able to piece it together. At that point of time, each activity by itself was very sensorily enriching for us to complete. So one of the main takeaways for me was, if we can look at our children's sensory preferences and go by those, rather than trying to do handwork in a way that this is what is good to do. This is what can build visual perception. Rather than going by such theories, it is good to go by their interests. So this was something that she really showed it to me very evidently, because she would not come for something that was not interesting. And I had to, when I would keep a range of things, I would see to what she is gravitated quickly, on her own to what she is gravitated. And from that, we would start building on the different ideas. So as being a designer, my mind would always think about how do I bring it to some aesthetic culmination. And that's how these trials began. And then from there, it went on to a little bit more refined products, where we took the trouble to, we really took the joy of completing the packaging till the end. We would put our effort into it. And one of the, as soon as the COVID time opened up, there was a mela that was happening in the apartment, and she put up a stall for the first time. She went and gave the, once the orders were completed, we would go personally to the people and give it to them. So it was a loop getting completed for us. So from concept to packaging, taking accountability for a particular order, handing over, and a child like Minu, who would not even like to pick up the pencil, was happy to write "with love Minu" 50 times, 60 times, because it was not a name that she was writing. She was actually putting her signature there. So these were all very important aspects that we kept collecting as we went on. These were all realizations we kept collecting as we went on. And from there, I'm going to skim through this journey quickly, because we want to go to the benefits and spend more time on that. And then today we are able to make products which are very appealing to the industry, to corporates, and even for wedding souvenirs. So these are all products which have come through refining ideas based on feedback. It's not that we went through any standard per se. To be honest, like I always say, we are nowhere a competition to anything like a gifting industry or a craft industry. It's a very, very refined space, right? So, but what are we doing here? We are trying to look at the skills that our children have, and how can we use that to create something which is appealing. And in that, we are having a lot of creativity, which is just showing up to us. As in, when we get a new order, we are able to develop something from that. So a thing of beauty is a joy forever, a joy for the person who is making it, joy for the person who is receiving it. So it's something which is extremely mutual and extremely beautiful. Yeah, so here I would definitely like, I think, please stop me in case there is any question or anything, Bindu, because I don't want it to be like a monologue. If anybody raises a hand and is there a question, we could definitely take that as and when it comes.
Yes, sure. Yes.
Yeah. So the question that used to keep coming to my mind was, how come a child who has probably not even gotten exposure to these things came for this with so much of interest? So this was something that I pondered about. So it was not something that I knew from theory or something. I did it because there was something very gratifying for me. I always did handwork as a child. I was extremely hands-on in everything. I would do a lot of crafts. So that was something that genuinely interested me. And that is why I was doing it. Why was it that Meenu also suddenly seemed to show interest to it, though I had not seen that inclination in her? Naturally, the way I would see music, the way I would see her interacting, working on music, which was coming very internally for her. Here it was something that I introduced and she got it. But how did she sustain that interest? So that is what was something intriguing for me. So at first I used to think maybe because I am presenting it to her in a very systematic manner, that is why she is picking it up. But that is what I was doing with other things also. Even with special education or any other goals, I was trying to do that, but it was not always very successful. So here it was something much beyond an intellectual faculty of just training, you know. There was something which was happening, completing for her in the senses. Otherwise, she would not have come for it again and again. And that is the beauty of handwork. And that is where we talk about the importance of process. It is not about what you create at the end of the exercise that matters. It is the process that keeps you glued to it. So all of you, many of you who are actually into handwork would agree with me that once we start it, there's a very different kind of a motivation for us, right? To complete it, to bring it to a particular closure, to see it evolving in front of us. So these, now we try to look at theories and see as to why it is happening. But this is what I kind of discovered through my experience was, one, it is a very visually balancing exercise. So there is some kind of an internal completion happening as I work with my hands outside. So it almost became like a bridge between my inner sensory impressions and my outer expression. So this was a important, I would say, an important aspect that can can be very useful to understand, because we will have to go by this motivation. If we are going to make handwork yet into another, what do you say, a therapy modality, like a part, like how we do a class or something, I think that joy will be gone out of it. So, and then there was a sense of completion and gratification at the end of every work that she took up and did. If you see the last picture here in the right end, below the logo, can you see the different beads being sorted? When I had given this task to her, once she had got a grip of the tweezer, so she would separate the beads. And whichever bead was having a defect, like either the ring was not proper or the ring was damaged or something, she would throw it away. So see, she was doing her quality control very naturally. It did not fit into any of the four pockets, so she was throwing it away. And actually, these were damaged pieces. So quality control was something I didn't have to talk to her about. It was coming naturally. Similarly, if you see some of the crafts like the paper embroidery and other things, what we do are very self-correcting in nature. If you go wrong, you can see it. You can see the mistake that has happened and automatically you can undo it. It is not something that you have done it and you can't undo. So there is what happens with such a thing. You get a sense of control on whatever you're doing. It is not something which is out of your control. So automatically when something we are doing with our own body and which is something in our control, there is a lot of connect to it. We are feeling in control. And then I think all of us as human beings need that. We all want to have that feeling of control, that we are able to complete something with our own accord. So that was happening here. When it came to the bead sorting, if I were to sort the beads, I would have done it in a very different way. Then I would take small videos and observe how she problem solves. And it was very interesting to see that she was doing it in a very different way, yet she was achieving the same goal. So this, again, if you see, when we try to teach our children something, we try to teach them what we feel is right. Our way we try to teach them. Whereas if you could give, if they are given the control of solving it in their own way, how are they approaching the problem was something which was very visible, very experientially visible. And this image that you see of the diamond art just below the, just next to the beads picture, it was a gift given by somebody and it looked extremely complex. Okay, it was like some thousands of diamond had to be stuck on the picture, and they have number coordinated the picture. Like for example, it's written not number, alphabet coordinate, like A is pink, B is white, C is green, for example. So all the A's you have to stick the pink bead, pink diamond, pink crystal. So you see, it's a very logical thing. There is no instructions to be given. It is self-explanatory. And I was struggling to actually find the A's, find the B's. She was very quick at it because she was able to hyper focus and look at all the A's and finish the A's first. So though she was working in parts, it was all forming something together beautifully. So these were all wonderful realizations that came when we took videos and we analyzed them. And from there onwards, the journey started. And I'm just sharing a very short video of 2 minutes. Just see if it's playing.
Ramya, video is playing, but there is no audio, okay?
Oh, it's okay. At this point. Yeah, just a small compilation. Just to see the different kinds of skills. I think I can see some raised hands. It would be good to take some questions. Yeah.
Vidya, you
I
want
have a
to
question for you.
Yeah.
The last embroidery that you showed, that red cover,
Yes. Yes.
or what is it actually? It's a gift?
Yeah. So just coming to that. So this was the latest, I would say. And
Okay.
this is a very proud moment because this is the first time she sat with me and we have developed a set of designs for a new project that has come up. So earlier it is used to be more of my thinking, my planning, and my putting things together. But this is a very recent development where she sat with me and we have actually developed these designs for a notebook, for a
For a
notebook
note.
order. Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
So
so it's a front cover of a notebook.
yes, yes. So these are
Okay.
designs for that. So uh, actually, I just to be in the flow. Till then it was all about Meenu. I used to sit with her, observe her. It used to be just the two of us. And then one fine day, through well-wishers, through families, we got a big order of 300 books. Now we were like, how are we going to complete 300 books just by the two of us? And it is not fair. It is not fair to put the pressure on her. And she is not going to comply if it is not, it's will at work, right? Only when the will is active, we can get work. It is not something that can be forced. So that is when we realized that we had to reach to more hands. We had to train more hands. Otherwise, this idea is just going to be staying in one table. And that is not what we want for it. And something that is so beautifully emerging needs to be taken to more hands. And the diverse hands engaging stories is that, just that. It is not just one child benefiting or one family benefiting, but it's a thought that can go into so many houses, so many centers. So I would like you to see our team here. That's
I had one
myself
more
and
question. Sorry to interrupt you.
can we? I'll be just finishing my part. Can we take it after that, just for the flow?
Sure,
Yeah,
sure. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I want you to meet our team here, which is the most important, what do you say? The most special part of WillAtWork is this team that has come together. So that's me and Arunima. There's Renuka and Sheila. So Renuka is a friend who is a neighbor, and she comes for this entire exercise just out of her passion. So she has absolutely no understanding of special needs or something, but she comes with complete passion to support a cause which is so beautiful. That is her motivation. And Sheila is a handwork teacher. She goes to many houses and she works with children. So that became an opportunity to take this work forward to more hands. So after we developed the templates for the project, if you see here, this particular project that came was for a company called Alroco, and their logo had to be replicated on the book. So that was a design that we recreated, we tried out, and then I had to do 25 times. I had to work on that logo to get the flow right, such that the front and the back look the same. So these are all the design elements which I invest my time into. And once we had got the process in place, we made children practice it. And within a good amount of time, many children were able to do it beautifully. So these were all feedbacks that Sheila would give me as and when she would work with the children. And we learned from their challenges and their interests, like once we were finding it very difficult to keep a count of our books, how many children have done how many books, we would miss writing the numbers. So we devised this method. If you see the sticker method, after every book, the child would put a sticker. So at the end of the day, they would know that they had finished 5 books. So it was a very beautiful self-accountability kind of a process. And we would give them the choice of how many books would you want to do today, 3 or 5, because we don't want to overstretch them. And they would decide the number, and some kids were faster, some kids are slower. But at the end of 2 months, we had this beautiful project of 300 books completed. And we were delighted to, the clients were delighted to have the entire set with the perfect quality, absolutely not a single book was out of shape or anything. And they were so happy. They sponsored t-shirts for the children. WillAtWork t-shirts we printed. We gave them a certificate, and we also gave them an honorarium for all the work that they did. So this was, like, I would say, by far the proudest moment for me, to be able to, engage more hands in such an organic manner. These children don't even come to my place. Wherever they are, they have worked. And we have collaboratively put this project together. So this is where we are at, as far as WillAtWork's journey is concerned. And if you would ask me, like, okay, you are working as a designer, you have put this process in place, but what about many of us who are not into this space? So I want to quickly share, I know I'm going out of my time bracket. I want to quickly share the various areas of opportunities that you have where you can actually put this to work. Again, through our experience, through the different things that we did, we have able to bring it down to a few topics. One is we did a lot of workshops. We did a lot of workshops for children in the apartment, kids who were interested. And what we saw beautifully was across age groups, across neurodivergent population, neurotypical children, parents, caregivers, whoever came, there was a standard observation that every time they would work with their hand, they would become very, very quiet. They would all become so engrossed in the work. Their focus would be their body and their hands on the same alignment. And that centering was very evident. There would be children who would be so chatty, and suddenly the whole room would fall quiet. And it would be so beautiful. One of them would even comment, "What happened? Everybody has become quiet." That would also be the thing. And there was a boy, I remember, he would say, "Ma'am, this and all is not for me. I don't like to do all these things." I said, "Give it a try. What is there? All your friends are doing it. Give it a try." And when he started doing the God's eye, which is a very centering craft, he actually said, "Ma'am, this really feels good." So these were all comments that came from children who were articulate, and children who are not articulate, their body language spoke to us. So this was something we felt across. Even winding wool, even the small act of winding wool had a very healing property to it. And then we actually, with one particular special school, we have done a 6 months project where we explored recycling products, upcycling and recycling products. And this gave a lot of bandwidth to creativity, brainstorming, seeing things around them, bringing it to the classroom, thinking how can we make it into a beautiful product. So you see here, it's all curd dabbas, glass bottles, newspaper rolls, acrylic bottles, waste paper. These all have come together to create this beautiful product. This is just a sample. We had created more than 200 products, which they put up as a sale. And the children also had the opportunity to actually see profit and loss, sales. So this was something that took a complete completion. And then upcycling is another very interesting thing to do, because what you see around you in the houses, we see a lot of boxes and all. How can you upcycle them? Using scrap fabric, we have created so many products. So, and there is so much of inspiration on the net. It is not that all these are just our ideas. We have taken ideas from here and there and put it together. So it's just that once you start observing, you start actually finding purpose for it. This is one of our very gratifying section where it's like a circular economy. So the puja flowers that became seed balls and were given to a school, and with the message saying, "Leave me in nature and see me grow." So the seed balls are saying that, and that is what that school also stood for. It's a nature-inspired school where the children are just allowed to be themselves and learn. So this was a very beautiful. So the products also started taking shape into such what do you say, such souvenirs, which are very meaningful. And come to think of it, when we having engaged in this project myself, it's a very gratifying process, because you are putting to good use what is around you, and you're giving life to something which would have been discarded. So every little petal had the potential to grow into a plant over there, and we have tried to do our best over here. Similarly, the acrylic bottles became candles. And recycling handmade paper is another thing we have recently started. Again, a very, very gratifying process. All the scrap that we collect at the end of the projects, we don't throw them. We keep them, and even tearing them and cutting them is an activity by itself. For children who are just getting used to a particular just getting used to using scissors, this is a very good activity. We start with that, and so ideas just come on their own as we go. And this collaborative projects are yet another beautiful space. If it's a special school or an organization, they can use the power of collaborative projects to bring handwork with children. Every child is doing only a small part, but that small part is becoming a part of a whole. So these also bring a lot of life lessons, that though my role in the house may be just one small thing I'm doing, but it is playing an important role. It is a purposeful activity. And then festivals are the biggest beautiful opportunity that you have, where the entire family can be occupied. Here you see my husband and daughter are painting a panel which became the backdrop. It was a waste plywood thrown somewhere. And and why I really like these projects is because here the stakes are low. When it comes to creating something for somebody, we can get a little caught up with the quality. Here we just have a free run. We really don't worry about how it looks. It's just important that we have done it together. We have bonded as a family, and it is visually there to show our effort together. So these were just a quick examples. And this research that I was talking about this is a book I have recently purchased. Now I'm trying to understand what is the theory behind all these things. Till now, it was more experiential. And I see such beautiful studies happening. So here she talks about how effort-driven reward circuit, which is a very, very important important circuit in our brain, which gives a very deep sense of satisfaction, is something that can even overcome depression. And this is through a personal experience this lady has written. She's a very renowned researcher, Kelly Lambert. And she says, you can just read you begin to feel more in control over your environment and more connected to the world around you. This reduces stress and anxiety, and most importantly, builds resilience against the onset of depression. And also the fact that it says effort-driven rewards and other real-world interactive experiences generate much more intense and pervasive reactions in the brain than the neurochemical alterations produced by a single pill. So anyway, so these are all studies which are coming through, and there are a lot of relevant, deeper concepts which support this. So though I have spoken about the different products we have created, which looks more at on the face of it, what is happening is something much more deeper. And this is a point where I think it is the right time for Arunima to come in, because she talks about the concepts behind it, and also some very practical applications when it comes to special education and other things, because she is a Montessorian and she's a special educator, and she would be the right person to take forward from here.
Shall we take the question from Vidya, Ramya?
Yes. Now let us take one or two questions and then let us move to Arunima's part. Yes, Vidya, sorry for cutting you then.
No problem. In the beginning, you had talked about giving her a lot of movement activities for 6 months.
Yes.
Can you talk more about it? Like, I wanted to know, like, what kind of movement activities did you give? Was it music based?
Arunima will be touching upon that, though we are not going to go in depth over here, but she is going to touch upon that in her section.
Okay.
Any other, Malika?
Hi, sorry, I'm not switching on the video because of the internet
No problem,
bandwidth.
no problem.
So, when you started saying, and it's all resonates so deeply, like, I'm same, I wanted to do a lot of work with hand and things like that. And my son is like simply repel it completely. So, what I thought about is like, when you were sharing this, the thought came is, what about frustration? There would be moments, right, where she found it like, oh, I cannot tie this knot, or it's just slipped out of my hand and the whole work I have done is gone now.
Right.
So that becomes like turning points for them, like they just like sometimes run away after that. Okay, because I made a mistake, now I'm never gonna do it again.
Right. Very, very valid observation, and it has happened many times with us. And these are all, whenever it has happened, I have realized it has been something that I would have done, which has made it look like a mistake. See, by itself, doing something and undoing it, nobody would mind. But when I would have said, why did you do that? Oh my God, now we have to redo it. So, that expectation when it comes is when that feeling of having not done right, even for herself. Actually, usually our children are perfectionists. They don't like things going here and there. But that is the beauty of handwork. You can undo it, you can redo it, you can take it apart, you can put it again. It doesn't matter. And that is where I say always start with projects where the stakes are very low, where you're just doing it for fun, just doing it for bonding. It doesn't matter if it doesn't look good. What is important is we have all put a part of our effort over there. And I would really want to stress upon this. I didn't want to bring it on so early because Arunima will be covering a lot of aspects, but handwork is therapeutic. Let us not make it a therapy. The minute we start making it a therapy kind of a space is when children will resist, because our children are going through so much of bombardment, right?
I know.
And this should be a space for them to breathe out. It should be something where they can actually relax. In between two heavy sessions, do this. It will actually relax them. In fact, there is a study that says that when the brain is not cognitively occupied is when the best ideas come out. And you would have also realized it in your own experiences that whenever you were extremely stressed, it was only in moments of quiet work or quiet silence, the solution came for you.
Yes.
See, when 100 things are bombarded, you need something where your brain is cognitively. So that's why WillAtWork has the symbol of a heart and hand. So Arunima is, don't worry, A
Okay.
lot of questions
Thank
are going
you
to
so
get
much.
covered when Arunima talks,
Sure.
because it is going to cover the second important aspect of our observations.
Thank you.
Suja, one last question from you, and then we'll move to Arunima maybe.
Hi, Ramya. It's lovely to see you, and
Yes.
it's great to see the way you have built this. I mean, you've shown baby steps and how you built it up. So my question is, does Minu have motor coordination issues? Because for children, why I'm asking is my son, struggles with a lot of motor coordination. Motor planning is
Correct.
not easy. So a lot of ADLs are not easy. So hand movements per se are not so easy. So then, like Vidya, I would be interested to know, did Minu have it? And secondly, you talked about some motor exercises, something, you talked about, right? So yeah, if you could just give us a
Yes. So
brief.
actually, Arunima is going to talk about that. So let's finish Arunima's presentation, and then let us take the questions later. So
Great,
we will be able to
great.
bring it to some conclusion.
But
Okay.
does she have gross motor or fine motor issues? I mean, can she write?
If you can see her if you see her handwriting, you will not believe that she has done these products. Even now, if you see her handwriting, you will have one letter all over the page and one letter which is so small. But
Right.
if you see her handwork, so that's what it is. It's the neurodivergent mind is so rich. It always
Right.
gives you so many surprises. So we cannot
Right.
go by one standard and set the other standard. That is where I say for me that writing is not important. She can
Right.
always type and express herself. Getting her handwriting to improve is not my focus. But and the reason I started doing videos of her was because people ask me such questions. My mother herself asked me once, I'm sure you are not doing it fully for her. No, she's only doing it, right? So just to prove to her, I took a video. And when I observed that video, I was shocked at the things that it revealed to me. Because when I was with her, I was not noticing those nuances.
Right.
Whereas when I was seeing the video, I was seeing nuances such that she was pressing more glue. She would control this pressure of the glue. She would make sure her hands don't get dirty. And at every step, she would take my approval with eyes. And I was not even knowing that if I had not seen the video. So these are, let's just move to Arunima section and everything will be much more clear.
Thanks,
Over
Ramya.
to you, Arunima. Sorry for eating into your time.
Shall I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So Ramya has as such covered a lot of things. I'm going into more technical of it because being a professional as a special educator, a Montessori adult, and as a parent, because the maximum experience that I have is of a parent of 20-year-old. Right. I have a neurotypical child and a neurodivergent child. So I have an experience of both of them. And as a Montessori adult, I have worked in 11 years in a environment where there was inclusive education. And so I had a chance to work with neurotypical kids as well as the neurodiverse kids. And being a Waldorf parent and being a Montessorian, my love for handwork was affirmed again and again because I could see the benefits across all children, whether they are the neurotypical ones or the neurodivergent ones. The way of bringing might be different because we, as a Montessorian, we have a quotation that follow the child. It's not like follow with child. Follow the child and accordingly you make your lesson plan, whether it's a neurotypical child or a neurodiverse child. So one thing very striking, the slide that was before this talked about hands, right? It's a Maria Montessori quotation, and it says that hands are the tools for learning. Actually, our limbs are the tools of learning. If once we accept it, now we start having that respect for the handwork so much. Handwork movement or anything to do with our limbs. We start giving it a reverence, which somewhere we have lost it, giving too much of importance to the head. So more and more I worked with children, more and more I have witnessed this slow transformation. Nothing is starting coming like a magic over a period of time. I have seen that things have come out. So before we go into anything, I will just like you all to have a look at your hand as a human hand if you see it. Our hands are very unique. If you see the evolution, it's very unique. We are the only animals on the planet who don't use our hands for locomotion, right? And we don't use it for locomotions. So most of the animals are using it for locomotions, and we have a palm that is quite big, a thumb which is quite big and opposable. So we are capable of doing a lot of things, gripping, holding, gross motor, fine motor, everything through our limbs. And if I say you that we give a lot of importance to visual sense, right? But if you see our hands have got the maximum number of receptors. They're more sensitive than our eyes. And our hands or our limbs and brain are in a constant talk. The more we work with our hands, the more neural connections happens in our brain. The more neural pathways are happening, the more connection between left and right brain is happening, the more balance comes to everything. So that's why all these education system like Montessori and Waldorf, which I have been like thoroughly into it in the last 20 years, give a lot of importance to hand movement. So here is a, Remya, can we go back to the slide? Yeah, so here you see, if you see, we have three fold in a human body. One is our thinking, which is in our head, feeling is in our heart, and the willing is in our hands, on our limbs. And we, as an educator or as a parent or anyone, even when we are taking care of ourselves, we have to make sure that we equally nurture all the three faculties. And that is for a balanced human being. So it's not for a neurodivergent child or a neurotypical child or a adult. Everyone needs to nurture all these three faculties throughout their life. And that's why even in our logo, you will see there is a hand and there is a heart. WillAtWork. When we were planning for this logo, it was a very thoughtful logo because hands work and hearts meet, right? So there is a logo of hand and heart. And when hands and heart work together, you see an impact on the head. You see an impact on your intellectuality or cognitive ability, your thinking. Because there is no other way to just directly stimulate brain through all the intellectual activities. Because nature, it's an organic need of the child to learn through the limbs. We have seen it in the human evolution that you learn through your limbs in the initial, at least in initial stages till 13, 14 of years. The children are mobile, movement teaches them more, experience, sensorial experience, the sensorial impressions, they're so important for learning, for your cognitive development. So in curriculums like Montessori and Waldorf, they're very organically incorporated into it. The handwork is brought to every curriculum. So, and it is in your handwork with reverence for nature, bringing you close to nature, then free play where you breathe out whatever you learn, and then hands-on learning and a lot of movements and activating the will. So movements is like many few of you asked about the questions, is a very deep subject of its own. If we take a lot of it, it has like even it will take a full webinar if we do it. If we call some movement a specialist. But most of you would have come across this kind of lines, this kind of terms like midline crossing, dexterity, lateral finding, left-handedness, or dominance of hand, and all those are settled through more and more movements we do with the child, where it's most of it at the gross motor movement, because writing is a very fine motor coordination, right? Eye-hand coordination. But if you see the writing skills from where it comes, before you hold a instrument, because we all will be very surprised that we give so much of importance to our fingers, but our fingers have no muscles to work. So if the child is not able to hold or do things with fingers, you will find that there is our fingers take the support of the muscles from our palm, our wrist, our forearms. So a lot of gross motor has to happen before the fine motor comes. So there's so many other movements that we can do with a large hand movement, large body movement, like crawling, creeping. Those are some simple examples. Walking cross-legged, walking like a wheelbarrow to help with your palm, mopping. All those things we can do to improve the gross motor. And finally, slowly the fine motors will also come. Once the muscles get that strength, there is more and more neural pathways being made. the fine motor will slowly come to action. So these are some examples of those schools, Waldorf schools, where all these beautiful things, they just come on a curriculum in a very organic way, not being as a therapy. Now the next, in this you can see one wet on wet painting.
Sorry.
Yeah. Can we go to that slide, Ramya? There is one that the child has collected all the things from the nature walk, all the leaves and all, and we have made a sun. So a lot of creativity has happened there. Now what happens like once you have said that something comes as a turning point in the child, right? He refuses to do after that if he has made a mistake. And Ramya said that the way you react to it, has a lot of impact on the child, and it happens not only in handwork, it will happen in everything. If you correct on the child's work, it takes away the self-esteem and the joy. If you have a separate work where you can show how it is rightly done in a very gentle way, without criticizing him, without using that thing that, see, this is how it is beautifully done, and you make him proud of whatever work he has done. Because anyway, handwork, art, or whatever we do, it's an expression, and we all have a different way to express ourselves. There is nothing wrong and right about it. When we're not making, like she said, when we're not making it targeted to a quality or targeted to a corporate gift, where we have to follow certain requirements, customization and all, nothing is at stake. If the child is exploring his creativity, nothing is at the stake. So we can let him explore, because we can let him make mistakes and not make a big give a judgment, reward or something. Slowly, one day, the effort-driven reward system will come into play. He will start doing it, because children, when they start stitching in my class, they do a lot. I give them a cardboard stitching to start with. They do a lot of zigzag thing. They don't follow the holes, and I don't correct them. But I sit and do with them, next to them, so they have an observation and comparison later on. And no child has ever claimed the work of other child, no matter how good it is. I don't write the name and all, they will always be proud of the work they have taken, they have done. So no child claims the work of other, oh, this is properly done, as good as Arunima auntie, so I should take it. When I start distributing them at the end of the week, they take their work only. No matter how many mistakes they have made, they proudly take it. It's only we adults start saying, comparing it, that you see his work was better or something, and the joy is taken. Yes, Ramya, we can move to the movements if you want. It will be a long, it will be a very, see, everything that you do, activities of daily life, it has movements.
Arunima, just
and for
breaking a lot. So do you want to turn off the video and try? Because
Yeah,
some of the words are not audible.
Okay. Is it audible now?
Yes, seems clearer.
Yes, better.
So earlier it was not audible, Bindu?
It was audible. It was just getting stopped in one or two. There was a jerk.
Okay.
But it was audible.
It was audible. Okay, so whatever use of your hands, limbs, and the only way to help them, like if they're struggling with it, is to know where the child is, how much he's capable of, and give him the extra help that he needs. Slowly we can increase the challenges, slowly taking away, winning it off as and when he develops. Whenever he's ready to do the next step, we can take our hands back, let him do it more. So slowly, for everything, we can divide it into steps, small baby steps, and he can do as much as he can do, but not too much of reward or not too much of criticism. I mean, reward in a way, I think you should reward the child with all the nurturing, or with your body language, you being involved in the activity, but not like, wow, so that it doesn't become a habit to look at the validation, outside validation all the time. So when there is a lot of dependency on the outside validation, that inner motivation to learn goes away somewhere. You're always looking for an outward validation, that there is a nod or something. If it is there, just slowly, if you're involved with the child, it will not come. I will show you the way to do it. That's it. Not making a big scene around it. That's how we do in Montessori also. If there is a mistake, we never go and correct the child, even if it is there for long, it is disturbing us visually with some spellings or something. We let it go. When we are doing it ourselves, showing it again, we do it in a correct way. The child might get it in the one time, or might take his own or time to take it in 1 month, 10 repetitions. So we leave it to the pace of the child. Now this in this slide, you see all the other activities that bring a lot of sense of life to the child, lot of belongingness to the outside world, like cooking, gardening, mending. There is a child who is mending the book. The book is torn and you sit down and mend it with him. Put a glue or put a cover. So taking care of things around you. So in a sense, the child starts belonging to the environment. He starts taking the responsibility to take care of it. So more and more you involve the child into chores, more and more you involve into cooking, mending, gardening, all the chores which we sometimes don't let them do. It's a way to even just encourage their self-esteem and self-confidence that, wow, I'm able to do this much. I'm able to contribute to my family in such a way. I'm taking care of my clothes. I'm arranging my cupboards. And here in one picture, you've seen a bit of literacy is also introduced, but in a very interesting way. You see it is all chopped vegetables. The child has written the name of the vegetables and labeled it. So he has done a lot of handwork, chopping, cutting, peeling, whatever he could do, and then labeled it. If instead of asking him to write those things, even making a recipe book. If a child is able to write. If he's able to draw or express in any way, 4 chilies, he can draw 4 chilies, carrots, he can draw 4 carrots, whatever he has used. As much as the way he is ready to express at that time, and slowly we will increase the challenge to next level. So it teaches a lot of things like patience, your observation, and appreciation for things around it, and you will start belonging to it. Because when you take care of your books nicely, you will have a responsibility. I have mended this book. So you start developing for the reverence of the things around you and getting involved in buying the ingredients. As simple as that. What you're planning to cook, you can ask the child about the ingredients, what we need to buy, have a look what is there or not. A lot of life skills can be taught here. And it is sensorily gratifying because you need to touch so many dough making, batter, touching or mashing a potato, peeling something. Yes, Ramya, we can move to the next slide. This is how I have brought it into my curriculum with the children who are there. I work from young children from 2 years to somebody who is 24 now. So this is how whatever curriculum I make now, I just make sure that I'm nourishing the head, heart, and hands at the same time. I make sure to bring everything, the joy of learning there, handwork there, and of course the intellectual things of literacy, writing, as in a special educator. So these are the some of the activities that they have shown in the picture. Like for recent Father's Day, I did this craft with them. In this, you can see the stitching, cutting. So many skills are used there, right? For my appa is actually stitched. Then this paper weaving thing that you see, the blue and green paper weaving, the child actually made it and he's using it as a dining mat now in his home. So he has made one for everyone. He has actually gifted it to many of his aunts and all. Then stitching on all these Amazon boxes, card boxes. Now I've shown them. So they are putting the measurement approximation where the dots should go, and then they are making the holes also on their own. So as many sensory impressions I can bring it, I try to bring it in one lesson. And maybe we can move to the other slide. And here you can see even for my teaching. Like this child is doing multiplication with seeds. So every time he or she is putting it, he will have a lot of midline crossing in it. Because generally what I make sure, if a child is right-handed, I make sure that I put the seed ball on the left side. Because he has to cross his midline every time he puts it for. So this minute things where I give them more opportunity for their lateral crossing, bilateral crossing in any way. And more exercises I do with them, beanbag, multiplication with beanbag exercises, walking backward and going backward in the table. All those things I will do. And this child who came to me, he had no idea of dates and nothing. He is 12 and he had no idea what is the date today. So it took me 6 months. From January, I started making a calendar with him. So you see a January calendar, I have put the Pongal, Republic Day, whatever was there going to happen. Then this is him to know which day it is. He became very conscious. So I used to ask them, go and find what is happening in your family. If there is a birthday, we'll make a cake on that day and put it. Whose birthday is it? If he has to travel, we will put some pictorial thing that from this state to this state I'm traveling. So now he comes and he's the first one to go and write the date. Or if I write a wrong date, sometimes I will deliberately write the wrong date. He will come and rub the board and correct it, and he will write the. And doing it so many times, I've not made him do Monday. He has now most of the spellings of months and date, day, all has come to him. He will write at least Monday to Sunday has got the spellings also. I've not done a special spelling like SUNDAY, MONDAY. He just got it. Similarly, for picture talk also, I mostly either ask them to trace it, or if they're capable of drawing it, copy and draw, and then describe the picture. So it's in a way in a daily curriculum, like Remya said, I don't want to make it like a separate therapy. It's a part of all the therapeutic ways I want to bring it in my lesson. I don't want them to have a separate handwork class or separate things. Yes, Remya, we can move to the next one. Yeah. So these are, like I said, now they keep working on their hands, on their limbs, and the things happen in their brain. Slow transformation, I have witnessed it over a period of time. It starts happening. They start having this time management, all these executing functioning that we say now, the attention increases, the focus, the inner balance comes. They have an impulse control, patience builds, because every day I'm doing this artwork only for 15 minutes or 10 minutes. And then whatever work we are doing, if we're working on a paper waving, so I only give them 10 minutes to do. So they wait patiently for 10 days for that project to get finished. Earlier, every day they would say, we will not read or write, we'll just finish it and take it. But that time management they have learned now, that they will come to the end, they will do it. So there is an impulse control also, because if it doesn't come out very good, if they do it a very fast work, they are like that self quality control comes slowly. So next time they will do it very nicely, they will put all their effort. And this child, he wanted to get a certificate because he has never got one certificate. So I made him accountable for it. I said, why do you want the certificate? Then he said, I want a star because I've been good in this. So whatever he said, it's actually his words. Whatever he said, I articulated it for him. And this certificate has been made by them only. So I gave a certificate to everyone. So all this cutting that you see, cutting the star, that borders, everything, I asked them to make their certificate. So it was a project because they were it was an inner reward for them. They wanted it because many of their friends had got it in school. But I said, okay, you earn it. I made it not in intellectual terms that you earn it. I made, okay, what kind of certificate you need? And you just sit with me. So we made it over 10 days. Every day they will do a bit of cutting, bit of sticking at the end of the class. And they were very happy to take what they created. So it's a sense of accomplishment that gives a lot of confidence. boosts their self-esteem. And once you are calm and you have a confidence in yourself, your brain functions well. It happens with all of us. Once we are calm, a calm brain is a more productive brain. So there are activities which can brings that inner centering and calmness when our executive functioning is more. Yes, Ramya? This is my younger daughter. She is 18 now. So it's just that it started handwork with her, and it has now landed into a business. It might not happen with everyone, or we all will have our own potential, but she found her interest there. She followed it, and now she has a small crochet business of doing the soft toys, taking orders. So this has developed so many other skills in her, like what kind of material I need to buy, how much I need to buy, design planning, customization according to the customers, how they want it. Then her time management, because she's going to her school also, doing other things also, she'll find time for her. And this is her me time. It helps her really internalize herself. Then quality control, she has to make sure that it has to be liked by the, actually made a sheet, how much I'm investing in the material, how much I'm getting, the cost, profit. She's even accounting her time now for each project, how much time I'm taking. So these things have slowly, organically come to her, packaging, delivery, taking the feedback from the customer. So all of this has come to her. So slowly, every child will reach their potential. Need not be this level, but everyone have. The only thing is that we have to nourish it somewhere, not push it like a therapy, but nourish it, present it in a way. And there are many ways to do it. Like if your festivals, your everyday cooking, just make the child involved. Make the child involved. And sometimes I found that one child was not interested in handwork, but he was an autistic child, and he will come to anything that I do in a group. He liked that Dettol sabun's jingle. So when I used to, he hated to touch the glue and everything. So whenever I used to do the artwork, community artwork, I will start humming that jingle, and he will slowly come and do one or two. He will stick one or two and then run away. So that was the beginning, but slowly after a year, he was sitting for the entire community artwork, at least putting the thumbprint, touching all the textures, different texture. Earlier, he will do one or two thumbprints and start screaming to get it washed. But with that jingle as his interest, I got him to the artwork. So that's how slowly, if we follow the interest of the child, we can get them. And last, it's very well known that, like Ramya said, that it brings a happy hormones in our body. If you have heard of DOSE, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin, these are the 4 happy hormones. And it is, research has proved that more and more we work with our hands, we have this daily dose to keep us calm, grounded, and more productive. So our hands, our limbs are the only way that we continue making the neural connections, we continue making the synapses, and the learning continues throughout the age. If you stop using it, you start losing it. It's just like any other ability. So I will stop there. And if you have any questions, because it's already 12:05, Ramya. So
yes, I think we have also taken more than an hour. So I think we will now take some, are there any questions on the chat box, Bindu?
No, Ramya, but if anyone wants to ask a question, please raise your hand and maybe you can unmute and ask.
So essentially, what we wanted to bring in today's webinar was the variety of ways in which we can bring our hands into action. So it is not at all about the kind of products that have got created. That is definitely not the focus. The focus is that there is something very profound about the need to use our hands. And often because of the kind of lifestyle that we have and the kind of challenges that we have probably not given it enough thought. So it is just a good idea to start incorporating handwork into whatever is possible. And it's not about waiting for the movements to happen and then start the handwork, or do the handwork so that you start creating beautiful products. Actually, that is just not the focus. The whole idea is for us to give you a various areas of work, because we have done it in the last couple of years and we wanted to show it as a validation. But apart from that, it is just about finding creative ways to incorporate it into our daily activities, because it is gratifying, it is calming, and it also builds many things which are not visible, which are not tangible, though what you're doing is tangible, but what is actually creating and building is much more intangible and much more valuable, like the sense of judgment, sense of accomplishment, confidence level. And we have seen that in our children we have worked for a longer time. We can see the movement they have made internally from where they started to what they are doing right now. We can see a change, not in the product, in the way they are approaching the process, how taking accountability for it. Sometimes I just, even with glues, there are 5 or 6 kinds of adhesives we use, right, for different purposes. What to use for what, like there's sellotape and there's glue and there's double-sided tape. It's a lot of variety that we have around us, and it builds a lot of resourcefulness. Ultimately, I think problem solving is the ability that we're trying to target, which becomes easy for them and in control because it is something that they are thinking and doing. Yeah, so that is about it. Let us take the questions now, Bindu.
Ramya, just a quick note to
Ashu,
everyone here.
Yes.
There is a feedback form in the chat box. Please fill that. And because Ramya and Arunima are presenting for the first time, so they would love to hear what you felt about the webinar and take your feedback and thoughts and questions. So please take a minute and fill the form. Thank you. Ashu, please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for the wonderful seminar. I'll definitely fill the form. And it was very, like, right from the heart kind of feeling what you were explaining, because you have worked in so long. So my question is that my son is 4-year-old and he has a diagnosis of ASD. He currently tear the papers, newspapers and everything and make like thin frills kind of thing, and he moves it around. So so he has an interest of visualizing it. So I understand that is some visual thing, but I also encourage his like, because it is also a skill for him, because he is using hands and he is trying to like tear different kind of papers, different texture he touches, things like that. My question is, how can I make it more fun and creative for him, so that he also enjoys. He don't know much about shapes. I sometimes put Fevicol and like to give him more tactile and put that on the wall and things like that. But other than that, I don't know how can I do better for him.
Yeah, so Ashu, I would say, he's very young, and what is important is he explores as much material and his environment right now. It is not about bringing it into something very concluding or something that he has to make something out of it. See, that is something that has evolved only after 12, I would say. Only after, till my daughter was 12, I've never seen her coming for anything of this nature. So that there is a consciousness that comes, the changes in the child with every age, right? With every stage. So till then it was only playing with the beads, and then she has a collection of 500 pebbles and beads and marbles on her table. Even today when she is stressed, she goes and plays with it. So that is all going to stay. So we are not actually trying to see if everything can be converted into something utility. When the children are younger, it's very important that they have a lot of free play and a lot of exploration of material. And obviously we are doing a lot of OT and everything with them, right? We are getting them used to many things. And again, at the same time, if you want to make it fun, like what I would suggest is for a festival, use all those bits and pieces and create a collage. So whatever he has done, you're all playing, so play with him, become a part of his world, and try to see if you can create something with that without much stake, So then he also feels that you are understanding his world. And there is a need that he's doing it for. There is certainly a need that he's trying to fulfill over there. So I mean, I just feel that everything should not be seen in the lens of can we teach a new skill there? Or so we are doing a lot of things for our children. At some point of time, it can all converge. And at the same time, we don't curb it. We don't curb it because it is not something meaningful to us. So often that is what we do. We're trying to curb our children from doing certain things, right? So, but if you can actually see it as something which is fascinating and become a part of their world, it may take a different shape, or at least it'll be a joyful experience. So, I mean, actually here, we really don't want to use any jargons. Even though we have used a few jargons, we really want to steer away from it. We want to use our hands for the pure joy of it. And for older children, of course, we are trying to see how it can become something more constructive. That is a different aspect altogether. Anything you would like to add, Arunima?
No, like you said, you can also get involved in tearing the paper. Tear the paper with him, and maybe you can start making a ball, throwing it in a, put a dustbin or a plastic bucket, make it like a game. So if you see he's enjoying it, you can start a bit of learning there, counting and throwing it, or even taking those big balls. And don't say that it's a triangle. You just make if you put a glue like a triangle, he can only stick on that. Even if he's putting, and those balls he can stick, and slowly after 10 days, 15 days of doing it, if he's still interested, we can say it's a triangle, it's a square.
Or blowing the balls with a straw. If that is one of the therapy goals that you have in OT, use this interest of his to do that.
Yeah.
But yet I would say at 4,
he's actually using his hand to play it.
Yes, but at 4, I would still say don't attach a intellectual label to it yet.
Intellectual level. You can get involved with it and tear it with him, make it a ball, have some conversation around it. That's it.
Yeah, so for books also, because he tear his books also, so school is worried that I mean, but we are okay with it. We thought maybe this is something at this point he needs it, maybe to hear the paper tearing or things like that.
But I think that what do you say, that boundary is something that we have to set for many things, right? Like you can always give him a time when he can do this, or this is allowed, but not for the notebooks. Just let us do it together as a part of the game, but not for the notebooks. This boundary is something that we are going to always face as a challenge. We cannot, I mean, how do we set that? That is something that has to be brought as and when the child's consciousness and seeing the situation, because this is a concern that we have for many things. We are not knowing where to draw the line, and so there are things that what you can do at home you cannot do outside. Certain things, certain kinds of clothes we wear at home, we cannot wear it outside. So these are boundaries that we have to set for multiple areas. So that is something. Again, don't make that fascination just go beyond control. It should not become dysfunctional.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, Vidya.
Okay, so I like that you talked about some, crossing the midline activities. But can you give more examples of, all the movement activities that you have done with her to help her, more with the handwork? Because, example will give me a better idea as to, what I should do.
Again, the movements is a very, very large topic, and it is not something that we are also experts to actually tell the way we can tell about handwork, because we are doing it. Movements plays an important role, and we will definitely be able to connect. Like I have realized that when there was like when an example with the handwork, if I have to give, when we started doing lacing right in the beginning, not embroidery or anything, with that lacing. On a cardboard, we would make many holes, and then the lace, we have to bring it. So from the top, she can put it easily, and then she'll pull it out from the bottom, and again she will come like that. See what is happening there? She is not able to visualize something that is not visible. That I have to take it from the back, which is not visible. You understand? So that awareness of the back is not strong. So that somewhere it is difficult. Now just imagine if I have to do something behind the laptop. How is it going to be? I am not able to see it. So so that was happening very often. So even today, when I see some children do that, I realize that could be one of the challenges for them. That particular understanding is not matured enough. Then actually we had done a lot of movements when it came to backward awareness, because that was required for other things also, walking backwards, figuring out things from the back and guessing what it is, guessing the shape without seeing it, blindfolding and doing things. So many things were done. Now, what made what connection, I cannot guarantee and say. But there was a breaking point where I saw that she understood that. It could have been only through the handwork practice also. So we are not able to directly correlate it. And again, the reason why I'm not really wanting to make a big deal of this, because I don't want everything to be seen as therapy.
Okay.
Just do it for fun. Let it be messy. Just do it because can we have the goal of just having fun for a festival where we are all plucking flowers and making a pookalam together? What goals do we want to cater over there? We are doing 100 goals in that. There is color, there is contrast, you're learning colors, you're learning fine motor, you're learning beauty balance. But the ultimate thing is we have done something together for the festival, which we all sat and visually enjoyed. And that offline time the family put for it. So I think I would definitely want families to start with that, because again, we can get very caught up with this very finished looking products, and an unseen expectation will start coming, which may take the joy away. That is my fear. Because I do it even with my daughter, I'm realizing it. Though she may be doing all this very finished, there are so many physical in her ADLs, she's not independent yet. So I cannot say because she did handwork, she should be doing that also. That I am working, it is work in progress, and that will be a work in progress for a very long time. That is not at all relevant. I mean, I'm not trying to directly connect the two, because then somewhere I will lose the process fun. The joy of the process I will lose. I mean, at this point of time, as far as movements are concerned, I think we will have to, we have mentors who guide us, and we would love to actually have another webinar which is focused on that.
Okay.
So that it is a much more, authentic information given to you.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Tarunya?
Yeah,
There's a question in the chat.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'll just read. So the parent is asking, Shilpa is asking, the child he doesn't sit through the whole task and wants to procrastinate. So what she should do differently to make this, to have him sit and complete something, not willing to finish a task?
I think doing it in step by step, not putting the entire goal in front and breaking it down into smaller steps would really help. And somewhere, we have to find a motivation for them. There is a very, very important, that is, I think, an aspect which I have not covered much, but that is the key, Like, for example, if a child is just not coming for handwork, just not interested at all, you don't have to force him. You don't have to ensure that they have to do this because all the others are doing it or it is important for them. For example, they're interested in cars. So create an album of cars, give them pictures which they can cut and stick and write the name of the car or color it on their own. Go by what they like to do and involve all these activities into it. So the idea is that we have created an album of our own, like how Arunima says, the calendar activity. So many things were coming. And because of that, because he was so involved in that particular work, he was actually able to relate to the months and dates much more faster. And I would say create gifts for loved ones. Children love to do that, I think. Whatever you make, you give it to your grandparents, give it to the grandparents, they're going to love it. However it is made, make cards, give it to the grandparents. So a very different kind of a motivation starts building towards completing a task. I think task completion is a lot to do with motivation. Arunima, anything you would like to add?
No, just like you said, now you can convert an obsession into a fascination. If you follow the child well, like I had my daughter who was only interested in umbrella and dolls. So taking the umbrella and doll away from her was a bit of tug of war. So it was stopping if all the learning stopped because there was a tug of war. I was pulling it away. The school wanted it to be kept away. So the best thing we did, we bought a dozen umbrella. And we did a lot of play around it. Put the umbrella, there are a lot of movement there. Put the umbrella under the chair, put the umbrella over here, everything around the umbrella. Even the first artworks were like coloring the umbrella, where the umbrella can be used, open the umbrella, close the door, umbrella, all the colors were taught. This is the blue umbrella is far, the blue umbrella is near. So for 6 months, I had all the lesson plans around her umbrella and dolls. And slowly she outgrew it. So there was not a tussle and a lot of learning happened. I didn't wait for her to take away the doll and then make her sit and teach her colors, or take away the umbrella and then make her sit and teach the other
Just
things.
about
Like,
creatively,
because that
just
was in my
creatively
mind that
merge-
I have to take it away and she has to sit. Yeah, creatively doing it.
creatively
So
merging
that you
their
have to be,
interests and our goals. If ever we have
and
some
mothers are
specific
the best
goals.
for that. Mothers are the best for that. They
Yes.
know their children the best, more than any therapist or any professional. You know your child the best.
Tarunya?
Hi, Ramya. Thank you for the beautiful session. And I have one question about the perfection thing. Most of our children are perfectionists. So, what if that comes in the way? Like, there may be a particular thing, like for my daughter, she has to get it in that, but there's a little OCD also involved. How do you overcome that? Have you come across something like
Actually,
that?
we use it as a strength in this.
Yes, it
That's
is
a
a strength.
natural quality control is happening.
Yes,
There is a boy whom we interact with. He's such a perfectionist. He will, one mistake he makes, even if he slightly pulls the thread harder, the hole will become slightly more,
correct.
right? He will put that book away. He
Yeah,
is
the
so
same
clear
things
of,
happen.
which is what else do you need? They are doing quality control there.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm just saying that as a strength, but yes, I'm very, in fact, obsessions, what we see as obsessions is something that, see, there is that need for completion that they see. Like when my daughter has to color something, till that last bit is left, she will color. One gap should not be there. So there is some visual completion that she's trying to achieve there. And that is why that, sticking, and sometimes she'll color over again over a period of time. So we will have to create, just like the boundaries, somewhere we have to create that very gradually. And some places we cannot control it all the time also. How do I say this? Like, so we keep this chart system, this token economy kind of a thing, like 5 books today. If the person is obsessed to complete all the 20, we don't want, because it is not something that is nourishing. After a point, it is becoming other side. It is going to the other side, which is also an imbalance, right?
Correct.
So you say, no, today's handwork work is only for 15 minutes, and you can decide to do this many books.
Okay.
Then you put a cap on it. So especially when it comes to executing orders, we do it very carefully, because one is we have to attain a deadline. Second is, not always the children are going to be available to us in their best moods. There are days my daughter just says, no handwork today. And that's the end of the story. I just have to pack and keep everything inside. So we will have to take, for one project, we take more time in hand, because we don't want to put pressure on them. We cannot put pressure on them. It is not in our hands to put pressure on them. They will do only if they are willing to do it. Otherwise, it's going to be a challenge the next day. They will not come for it. We don't want them to have that problem also, that they don't come for it because they have overdone something. So both ways, this side, this extreme and that extreme. I think for older children, I would say, like, we plan our day schedule, right? Just keep us some amount of time for it. Like Arunima does 15 minutes of handwork in a day.
Okay.
A child may say, ma'am, today I will do handwork. I don't want to do worksheets. But that is also another side of it. So she will have to give a time to it. And I think that is just a balance we can strike. And usually I talk, like when we are doing the handwork also, we are because older children, not for very young children, we actually talk a lot of concepts. Like Arunima is doing it because these are all children who are going to school anyways. So it's very sensory children also, who are not really able to follow any curriculum per se. I talk about design elements. I say, see, this white is not visible on white. It's not having a contrast. Let us try a darker color. So you are actually giving a lot of conceptual understanding to them. You are giving them design education, which is visual education, right? And at some point of time, when if we get the right support and everything, we want to develop a handwork and a design curriculum for our neurodivergent children, so that they can complete that, and that is useful for the work that they'll be doing. So many subjects, what they're learning today, they're not able to relate to it, right?
Correct.
So many things we are teaching them which they don't relate to. So if they can relate to colors, contrast, cool colors, warm colors, just as information, Not as if not just that they have to write an exam over it. Just as information we try to give them. So this is this we are doing it for a wintry picture. So we obviously don't use very bright colors, right? We use muted colors. We use blues and whites. So a lot of design fundamentals actually are coming into place. And like three beads for every section. Can you divide it and keep it? You're doing multiplication there. But you don't do it with the goal of multiplication or anything like that. You do it because a project needs it. But these concepts are getting internalized.
And I would add to that, like a perfectionist thing. If a child had discarded this, and you still think that it can be turned into something beautiful, you do it, and then
Okay, that's a nice thing.
and show it to the child. Over a period of thing has to be discarded. But for at that time, because it's his need, his obsession to work on a new fresh thing, you can give it. Like Ramya said, if that boy has discarded the book, we will keep it and we will see if we can make something out of it, not actually waste it. And then we maybe show him indirectly that this could have been done.
Okay.
We need lots of books for trying out new designs, right? We will use it for that because
Yeah.
there are these books which have like 7 designs on them because we can't be using the main material for everything. So everything finds a place, it is and that is all we are discovering as we are doing. So even this scrap paper that we get because of cutting and all that makes beautiful handmade paper. And it organically has those colors in it because it is a mix and match of many projects. Recently, from the embroidery floss, my daughter made a heart for her dad on Father's Day.
Oh.
So we just filled that floss in a piece of heart. So that floss was collected over, say, 6 months of project. Sometimes I don't even know why I'm collecting it, but suddenly it finds a purpose. Actually, it's a joke in my house that there is more trash than things. And wherever people, like friends who know what we do and who also resonate with us but don't have the space, please send us the trash with a lot of love and we take it with a lot of love and keep it. Because it is not trash for us, it is gold for us. We create so many things with it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bindu, how are we on time? I'm sorry if we have gone beyond it.
We can take a couple minutes.
Suja, I think
Suja has her.
Hi, Ramya. Hi, Arunima. So I have a question. Whatever handwork you guys are doing, you all are very creative. You all have ideas. So I am not so creative. So I just want to find out, are there any resources you can suggest, some basic things I could start off with?
Yeah, sure. As in, see, actually, we also take a lot of inspiration from here and there. It's not that we also everything is not created by us for the particular purpose we create. But there are, in fact, we encourage when we do workshops, we don't go into this product making at all. That is not at all our focus. That is only the design. So WillAtWork has 3 sections. One is design, one is training, and one is events. So the training is where we want to really give our time because that is what more families can, we want to enroll more families into the idea of handwork in whatever way. So this healing craft, there are these healing crafts which are very much a part of Waldorf system of education where weaving, rolling, winding, very repetitive and very healing in nature. So those are crafts we encourage during workshops. And that is where I see all age groups enjoying it because it is something that they are able to resonate with internally. So we could actually have webinars on that, or we are also open to doing maybe once a month physical meetups in Bangalore. We are open to things as this is our first webinar. So we are also wanting to know your feedback, how we can take this forward.
Thank you, Ramya. That was really enlightening.
Thanks,
and looking forward to more, hoping that you can probably have workshops for our kids and us. That would be interesting just to see how it works.
Actually, we would prefer to have it with the parents because directly introducing it to the kids, we do not know how each will take it.
Right.
You will have to go by their pace. It's better the parents get a hang of it. You start enjoying it. You see the parts of it and then introduce it to the children very gently and gradually because I have seen that when we work with the regular kids in the apartment, they all sit in groups and do it. But when we work with our children, one-on-one is required. because we can't expect them to suddenly look at it can be very overwhelming also. And also a lot of handwork can actually be very, it needs a lot of focus, right? It can tire a child. So we have to stop when it is tiring them. And we really prefer if parents can come and get a hang of it and take it to the children very gradually. So we would like to know, maybe from a couple of you, how you felt the session was and where do you see it shaping up into. We would really like to, because we have been talking a lot, it will be good to have some feedback. Priya?
Yeah, the feedback form is getting filled up as we speak.
Sure,
so we'll
sure.
take the
Great.
questions now and then we'll share the feedback with you.
Sure. Hi,
Priya,
Priya.
Hi, this has been a beautiful session. I had never imagined that, such things can be done, and how the handwork can translate into so many neural connections and, even connections within the family and building relationships and things like that. So it's been quite a unique and interesting session. So the question that I had in mind, I think previous folks have asked. So I was interested in knowing more about, how do we connect with you guys? Where are you guys based? And, how do we explore this with the children? If you have some sort of a graded curriculum kind of thing that you can offer, or a summer, not just a summer camp, a camp kind of thing where we can bring the children and probably introduce them to what all is available and see what they gravitate towards. How do we explore this further? My girls are 17. So one of them is interested in crafts and, she likes doing stuff. So the fine motor may not be so great, but still it's okay. I mean, I would say, so this can kind of open up a lot of possibilities in terms of the creativity and thinking and, ideation and stuff like that, because I'm looking for avenues where she can explore that side of herself. And all this while, I've been looking up YouTube and things like that, but nothing really came. This seems to be like, a happy coincidence that, we're connecting like this. So I really want to know how to go forward, or, how to connect, what you guys do, whether this can be done on post-school hours, whether this can be done online, where we, like you said, you take sessions for the parents and we can explore with the kids as to what might suit them. And, it's coming face to face also, children enjoy that social interaction that we get, right? So face to face would also be useful if you guys are considering in that direction. It'll also serve like a community building kind of thing,
See, ultimately, if you ask, what you said is a very important thing. What we want to, with this, what we want to do is we want to really build a community, because all of us who have come into it, be it Arunima, Renuka, Sheila, myself, and the children, we all have a common love for doing what we are doing. We are not coming with the need that, oh, we have to stay together. That is not our motivation to come together. We are coming together with something that is much more joyful. And with that, we are bonding, and with that, we are becoming friends and knowing more about each other's families. So it's a very beautiful space to connect. How to go about it, we will really have to plan it, because handwork curriculum is something we are developing. Just that we also have little bandwidth issues as mothers and as professionals, and we are trying to put that together. But once we get the inputs from the Google form, we'll see what is the first thing we can start doing. Maybe even if it's a webinar itself to start with. And then maybe once a month, if we can dedicatedly meet with the children or just the parents, we will explore all those things, Priya. Arunima, any thoughts?
Where are you located, by the way, in Bangalore?
We are in JP Nagar, close to JP Nagar, Banarkata side.
Okay.
Yeah, Ramya, like we can have a parents workshop in coming future. If we can plan one with few crafts, and let's see how it goes. From there, they can take it home and try it with their kids.
Yes. And we could probably share ideas to, if with certain curriculums, how it can be incorporated into the present child's interest area.
Yeah.
And again, not keep it just for handwork alone, just to make it a more integrated learning environment kind of a thing. So we can take it up as and when it happens. We are more than happy to be able to scale up.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Please fill the form. I will also share it in the groups after the webinar is over, along with the recording of the webinar. Thank you so much, Ramya and Arunima, for taking time for us today and sharing your journey and sharing the beautiful art that you are creating. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Vandana. Thank you so much for being there. Vandana is a mentor at a different level for me. She's a, but I call her my friend. So the feedback that I get from her is very, very valuable.
Thank you. This was lovely. This was really lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And our emails are there. We would like to have any queries through email, possibly. And I mean, we are just gung-ho to do whatever we can in this space. Honestly, we are only doing what we are able to do, and we don't let any opportunity go by. That is the way we have learned. An order comes, however difficult, we fulfill it, because from that we have 10 learnings. An interview comes, like last time with Shweta, an interview came. I wasn't sure what I'm going to talk, but because of that, so many things opened up, and I met Bindu because of that. I interacted with Bindu because of that. And then this opened up. So one is leading to the other, and we are just letting it flow. And honestly speaking, our children are just showing us the way, is what I would say. In between that, we are bringing our expertise, say as a designer, as a special educator, as an educator, we are just trying to bring in our expertise relevantly. So we would like this to be a collaborative thing as much as we can. Okay, so thank you so much. Arunima, last words from you, and then maybe we can call off.
Yeah, thank you so much. You have our mail IDs here. You can drop in your questions there. And if we find that there's some questions which are like in abundance, we might do a webinar on that in future. If there are many people coming up with a similar kind of question, we will try to do that. We will try to address it, and yeah, we like this collaborative thing to go on. That's our main thing. We don't want this to be confined to certain number of people or only to neurodiverse, and that's why we written diverse hands on our website. It's a community effort. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bindu. Thank you.
Thank you, Bindu. Thank you. Really, thank you for putting this together with so much of passion.
Thanks. So I'll share the recording and the form again today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in today.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Bindu.